Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Driveway Engineer. I am JR. This is Marv. The last time you guys saw Marv, he was getting a little paint job and I was a little disappointed. And now, clearly, we've done one of those social media influencer time jumps that I'm not really a fan of. But it is what it is. So, I know some of you don't give a shit, but I know some of you are like, how did we get here? How did we get to where there's an actual 6BT under the hood of your truck and your bumper's actually mounted and painted and the truck's painted and looking better, in my opinion. Maybe you don't agree. Maybe you go to hell. So I'm going to try to show you guys that in this video. I filmed all of the stuff. I just didn't do it a very cohesive way, and it's fall in Michigan. This is probably, we don't have a lot of nice weekends left, and we've had nice weather for longer than we probably should have. So I'm getting this wrapped up because it's down to details now. I'm building a flatbed for it, but hook the harness up, build a downpipe, put a radiator in it, hook the hoses up. The big expense would be the drive shaft that's hanging there. I need to lengthen that front part. There's no transfer case in it right now. The transfer case is sitting right there if I decide to use that one. So there's really three things to do, which the biggest one would be the drive shaft. I don't know if I can find a factory one long enough to use. Probably not. So I'm gonna have to lengthen that. It's gonna be, stuff's expensive, we all know. It's gonna be $500 or $600. I don't want to do that to put it away for the winter, right? So there's that, and then it would be the radiator, the plumbing of the stuff. I have the fuel lines plumbed to the tank. It starts and runs if you hit it with a key, with the wire. The wiring, which isn't a big deal really, because I'm just going to ignore most of the Ford stuff. I'm just going to hook power to it, and it's going to have power, just like the Dodge or the Toyota. So, and the brakes, I got to figure out the brakes. I don't know what master cylinder I want to use. It's 2006 chassis. It's a Hydro Boost. I got to kind of figure all that out. So I don't really care to do it this year. It's going to take me, 2-3 months to do all that, and this year's over. I got to trim this branch that's going to fall on one of my trucks. I trim a bunch of branches down at my cottage. I really need to get that thing going. I need to get that thing winterized. I just really have stuff to do. So, and kind of done spending time on Marv for the year. So Marv looks good. We got him together. Hope you enjoy the video. I'll show you how I made the mounts. I typically wouldn't gloss over this stuff, but I just really have a high degree of confidence that there's not a lot of you out there putting a 95 cab on a 2006 chassis with a 92 Cummins engine who really need the in detail. So it's not a secret, but I just sent it in there and welded it where it hit. But yeah, hope you enjoy. So there'll be some commentary and some footage, and yeah, have fun. Alright, so here you can see moving things around with my Ram and my Kubota. Somewhere along the way, I did not get the lower steering shaft, the part that goes onto the box, engaged all the way onto the splines, or I didn't have it tightened down right. I'm not really sure, but I've ruined my steering box and I've ruined my lower steering shaft, unfortunately. So this is how I have to move the truck around for right now. And since I can't drive it, I can't really prioritize a steering box in my mind just yet. But it works and it gets the job done. It's just a little bit more involved than I would like, really. Here is where I've gotten it once I had it all lined up. Actually started installing it. And I'm still using my same gantry crane made out of 4x4s. 1,300 pounds of Cummins and ZF5 did strain this thing, but it's still holding up, still working fine. still awesome. It was quite a struggle to get it in there, if I'm being honest, but I got it in there. So it's hard doing this kind of stuff by yourself. It probably would have been easier to just use a normal engine hoist, other than the challenge of trying to roll it around. And my pad isn't really quite what we paid the cement contractor for, unfortunately, but that's how these things go. So anyway, we'll get back to the normal video now. You can watch my normal words. Like I said, I've been rushing to try to get all this stuff done, you know, so I can have it buttoned up before winter. So didn't leave a lot of time for filming. I don't have a crew. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, forgive my words if they're out of sequence. I haven't decided how I'm going to edit this. I've already shot a bunch of footage. I'm kind of doing it on the fly, a couple hours every day after work. But, you know, the Cummins is in. I'll show you guys where we're at and what my goal was, and we'll recap. Right now, I'm hitting on that firewall lip on both sides, so I can't go back quite as far as I want to. Which is not impossible to remedy. I'm gonna get underneath and show you guys what I did. So let me pause so you don't get seasick. So that's the studs for the transmission mount in the cross member. I can't go back quite as far. It's like an inch farther forward than I think I want to be. And that's because I already have these existing drive shafts here. So I know that my case is 22 inches. I have to measure that. And then we'll go from there. As far as what I'm going to do, if I'm going to massage that firewall or not. Let me put you on pause and get out. So to recap what's going on here, this is a 2006 chassis. It's a 95 cab. It is a 97 7.3 ZF5. It's getting a 2000 Super Duty 271 transfer case, and it has a 1992 VE pumped 6BT in it now. I can say that I've got a Cummins and a Ford now. Fucking Chrysler Aspen, biggest piece of shit ever. But yeah, it probably needs to go back a little bit, and then I have to think about how I'm going to come in here and make mounts. So you'll see all that. I just don't know in what order. So today's episode is about building motor mounts. Anyway, I have it in there on the transmission cross member, and I have this more or less where I want it. Like, I have clearance to the firewall-ish. I might have to massage it. You see that I threw a chunk of wood. So it's on the factory OBS mounts, and I didn't have good clearance there. And again, I don't really want to rebuild the doghouse, so I thought maybe if I pick it up 1.5 inches and see how that goes, and that's a lot better. You see, it's still tight enough that that manifold might hit. But with it roughly in place, it's not centered and it's not tilted right. It's tilted 7 degrees back. So I drilled these plates out. The Cummins mount pattern is 120 millimeter by 60 millimeter. I have 2 plates here. I just tack them together. One of them I'm going to have to trim off because the bolt holes are like right up against the drain, the turbo drain. Once I do that, those are the 4 holes. It bolts 2 on the block, and you can see how close it is to the drain there. But once I do that, I will be able to cut a piece. I'm actually going to cut a piece of this to kind of hold it. I'm going to shove it where I want it, cut a piece of this, and tack it in there to hold it. And then I'll be able to measure, find the angle of this plate. This is the factory 6-liter Power Stroke mount. And then I built this little doodad to go over top of it. So I'm just going to drop a chunk of steel in there, 2x2 by 1/4 inch wall, and That's what'll hold her up. Actually, we might drop it down a little bit. We'll think about it. But right now I'm going to trim the mount for the passenger side, and I'll be back. Alright, I've got it where I want it. It's level side to side. It's a little bit extreme back, but that's okay. I intentionally did shitty welds. I didn't even turn my gas on for this. I just want to hold it in place while I evaluate how I want to attach this. So everything's tightened down in terms of the plate on the block and the plate on the motor mount adapters. And what I need to do now is I have two different materials here. I have this 2x2 1/4 inch wall that might be a little large. I'm concerned about accessing bolt holes, and once I figure out, like, see, I can't really get those bottom ones, but I can when I take the whole deal off if I cut access holes for it. And I need at least 3. The 3rd gen, 2nd gen, actually 1st gen Cummins, 2nd gen only use 3 bolt holes. So I don't really care if I can't get that front one on this side. But doing what I've done has crowded it to the side. Like, if I took this off and just put a plate in a plug like DCS or Carrot does, there'd be plenty of room. But I'm trying to save myself a few $100s here. So again, I got 6.5 degrees of tilt, which is plenty. Alright, I got my little pieces cut, and there's plenty of room for the bolts, but I will have to clearance that lower corner on that side. That's just sitting in there, by the way. Same here, probably going to clearance around the drain, like I'm still on it a little bit, and then that lower bolt hole on this side, same position, probably won't be able to be used. But I'm going to grind the other little one up, clean the burrs off, tack it in, and pull the whole deal, and we'll weld it up. Here's where I brought it in and used the plasma cutter to trim it up, clearance it for the bolt holes, take the excess stock off. I believe I had already welded it fully by this time, so unfortunately I lost the footage of me welding it. I don't know what happened. I think I hit record when I meant to hit stop or stop. I don't know. I don't have it. It's gone. So anyway. Alright, so I painted them up and they are in there. And you can see, hopefully, that I have room around my drain. I have room around my oil filter. On this side there's actually nothing there. You can see how choosing to use the 6.0 mounts and using that 3x3, I should have cut like an inch off of it. It would have given me more room to play with here, but whatever. The back valve cover clears. It looks like it'll come off. I'm going to wind up with like an 1.5 inch body lift. I jammed a 2x4 in there, so that's 1.5 inches up. So I'll have to fabricate some kind of body lift. It seemed like this cab wasn't sitting up high enough anyway, but yeah, that's it. Like, when it rolled over, it broke the fuel fitting off, so I can't start it. And also I had to go through and tighten all these bolts up on the timing cover. Which should be sweet. And I'm not 100% sure how the turbo will work the way it is right now. This is a preferred manifold that people like for OBS Fords. Some people use a flip 3rd gen and it like puts it up here and then they can get down and out. Some people say it clears the airbox, some don't, say it doesn't. I don't really know. I guess we'll find out together, because I have both. I have a 3rd gen that I can flip, or I can use this one. What I don't have is a turbo right now, so but that's a problem for another day. Next week, pretty soon. So real quick, just for fun, I put some of the other stuff that took my time up. We got some on the lake. We have a cottage. Taking the Jeep out on some trails. I know somebody in the comments is going to be like, why don't you go through the middle? Well, the middle's 4 foot deep. Those are 35-inch tires. We're lucky to get through it. So when you're in the middle of nowhere with your family on a mountain, you kind of tend to not get stuck. And yeah, one last ride on the jet ski before the summer was over, and I had to put it up. I still have to winterize this thing. So anyway, there's that. Back to our regular scheduled programming now. So it's not running great, as you can see. It's not pulling fuel. That's kind of a problem for another day. I did go through and paint another two-tone stripe on it, like I talked about before. Of course, we went out to see the Northern Lights and have some other stuff. Go out to dinner, those kinds of things. You gotta live life. And then the stripe on the other side, got that taken care of. I think it looks a lot better. It doesn't quite match the building, but it's pretty close. Got the bumper mounted finally. I'm probably going to go through and put a new deck on top so I can stand on it. And then here we go on to painting the frame, which I just wanted to get a couple coats on it. I had my welder out there because I wanted to beef up the adapter to the Super Duty mounts. But that went pretty well. Actually, I just did that yesterday. Didn't take me too long. Like I said, it's underneath. It's going to be underneath a flatbed, so no big deal. But that pretty much brings us current to where we are today, as you saw in the thumbnail in the opening video. So hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back on Marv in the springtime probably. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time on The Driveway Engineer.